Today we're talking about tables, not the ones you sit at, but the ones in PowerPoint that's related to Excel. So before we get too deep into this, let's look at a few topics I've lined out for today. I will let you read those, and we'll try to follow the list, but I may venture off. Before we get too far, let's talk about the definition of what a table is. And as you can see, it's a set of facts or figures systematically displayed. So it does not necessarily have to be numbers, but it could be just informational data, colors, types of trees, etc. And by the way, please like, share, subscribe, and get notified for future videos from the channel. I came up with 4 basic ways to insert a table. We're going to look at a few more, but that's what will get us started. Okay, let's delete these that I've already put in here. And this is one thing that you can actually work on now. Click on a table to delete it. You just right click it and hit cut, and the table is gone. And then this table here, this one's going to be stubborn. Right click, cut, or delete. Same with this. Now, as far as inserting a table, as shown in the silent demo, you can just hit the insert table icon here on the new slide. Determine how many rows you want. Let's go with 5 and 2, which is the default. And as you can see, you have choices here up to 75. You hit OK. This is your basic, let's remove this title. This is your basic slide here, or your basic table. As we mentioned in the silent demo, you hit tab to go to the second one. Let's go back. And then this is the second row. And notice that the first row has a different color than the other rows. And you can change that by clicking on the table, go to table design and layout, and we're going to talk about, we can talk about now, these are context sensitive menus. If you click outside of the table, notice how the menus go away. But once you click on the table, and we've talked about context sensitive before, you have 2 more menus that come up. So if we go to table design, you'll notice that in the styles, blue title, not title bar, but first row is enabled. If we go to orange, if you just hover over it, notice it goes to orange, gray, blue, yellow, green, etc. And you have quite a few choices there, light, medium, and dark. And notice as you get further down the road, you have dark first row, but then colored cells. And notice how it changes here as I hover over the different styles. So you can really get creative in what you want. Here's one where the first row is the same as the other rows. There is no distinct color for the first row. So a lot of choices in the layout, in the formatting, just as we've seen in other formats. Here everything's green, everything's yellow, everything's orange, etc., etc. So let's just stay with the default. Okay, All right, so context sensitive is defined as an adjective meaning depending on the context or depending on the circumstances. You can see that in the description below. All right, let's see what other notes we have here. We talked about inserting a table, talked about changing the color. If you want to edit a row or a column, let's see here. Go to insert a row or a column. It says click on layout. And we have these options here, insert above or below, left or right. So let's insert one row above the current row. Now, if you pick the first row and insert a row above, it's not going to do that because it knows this is the first row. So if you want to make another row, say below this one, it added one below. If you want to add a column to the left, it adds a column. You want to add a column to the right, I'll highlight this column here. Notice there's two left. Go back to layout, insert right. Notice there's four. Now there's 5 columns. So that's quickly how you would insert a row or a column. So if you made it 5 by 2 and now you want it, what is this, 8 or 9 by 4, that's how you do it quickly. Merging cells is just like in Excel. It's where you have 2 cells and you bridge them. What else do we have here? Talked about adding a column. To delete a column or a row, pick your row, hit delete. You want to delete the row. Say you want to delete a column, or delete column. You can delete multiple columns, delete columns, or let's copy this to the next slide. We can show you, oh, we have a table there. Or you could delete the entire table, go back to layout, and you delete the entire table. Let's undo that just to have something here. We talked about deleting a table, merging and splitting table cells. We talked about adding a table to a slide. Okay, there are other ways of adding a table. Here is one I brought over from Excel. Let's delete this. Go over to, let me open the file. Here you can link to a table in Excel and have it open in Excel. You set up a hyperlink, which we've talked about how to do that before. So here we're going to click on this one, and there's our small table, just a random set of numbers, a title, and a summation of these 2 columns. Now you can copy this text or copy this data. Just highlight it, press Control C, go back to your table. I think we want this one. Yes, from Excel as a copy. You just paste it in, Control V, and there's the table. Now note, the table is a little small. You can enlarge it to make it somewhat bigger. You can make the text bigger or the font bigger, but you lose some of the formatting, the bold is here, the italics here. Let me show you something else you can do. When you're ready to paste it, go to your paste command, and you have different options. Keep the source formatting. Notice how the italics, well, if you look, notice how the 90 is italicized. Notice how the sample table is bolded. I can't see what this is. Paste special, not sure what that is. Oh, this special has all the pictures. This one would embed it, and that one is text only. So we just did text only. Let's do embed and let's see how it shapes out. Let's save that. Okay, note we have the bold. Let's get rid of this box. We have the bold title. We have the italicized summation. But it's essentially a picture. But if you click on it, the neat thing is you bring in a table that you can modify. So let's make this 5 and watch the sum down here. Now, if we escape out of this, it should go back to the new table. So 5 and 94. That's how you would take an existing table, modify it in Excel. When you escape out of it, it will update the table in PowerPoint. So you can use real data as it comes to you and keep everything up to date. So that's a very powerful feature. And as you saw, you can move the table, you can resize it. I don't know if you can change the colors or not. Format object, look like you can. Or you can change the entire color of the table. So a lot of options to make plain Jane data look appealing to the audience. We talked about table as an Excel worksheet. We talked about hyperlinking. We talked about adding and deleting rows, deleting a table, merging cells. Let's make sure we've covered everything. And pasting from Word is the same. Here, we will bring in some notes for this particular video project from Word. It's just a matter of either pasting special or the picture or the text. Let's go with the picture this time. Notice a little picture icon. You click on it and you have the graphic that I captured. 4 ways to insert a table, which is what we talked about earlier. And you can resize it, move it, and as we looked earlier, you can change the formatting of it. Now, if you want to just bring it in as text, just hit Control V, and it brings it all in, and you can modify the text. So different ways you can do things, even though this is not really a table, this is just random text. Different ways you can bring the data over to PowerPoint depending on how you're going to use it. I actually don't have a table in Word that I can bring over that I can think of, but hopefully you get the point. So that's it on tables. Just to recap our topics, we went over the definition. We looked at ways of inserting a table and formatting a table. We looked at adding and deleting rows and columns. We also talked about entering text. You just type it in just as you would any other worksheet. We talked about deleting a table. We talked very quickly about merging, unmerging, and splitting cells. That is somewhat advanced, and you probably won't use it a lot. But merging is very similar to what it is in Excel. If we talked about pasting data from Word and Excel, I actually showed text for Word, but a table would be the same way. And we did paste from Excel. We also linked to Excel. We also modified the data in Excel, which showed how it would be modified in the table in PowerPoint. So I went over a lot of information. Let me know if you have any questions. Love to hear from you. And try tables. It'll help you put a lot of data in a small amount of space and hopefully get your message across quicker to the user. So with that, have fun. See you on the next video.